Hey everybody, welcome to Sunday. Welcome to the live show. I'm glad you're with us here. We do this every Sunday at 4 p.m. Pacific. That's 7 p.m. Eastern time, not the East Coast. Don't get those two things confused. First, a shout out to Car Cost Canada, one of the main sponsors of the channel. If you're looking for a brand new car, you certainly have to sign up using the promo code Motormouth, the name of the channel, and you become an expert member, and it opens up searches for you, and you can find out basically what the dealer paid for the car, and that's some very powerful information. And then the other sponsor of the channel is CanadaDrives.ca. This is where you go if you're looking for a used car. It's 100% online shopping. You get financed, you get approval, you can order the car, and they deliver it to you sometimes the same day, sometimes the next day, with a truck and trailer. It's pretty cool the way it all works out, and people who have done it certainly seem to like the way the platform works. Okay, so we're going to get into some pictures in a moment. This was one interesting piece of information I saw about the chip shortage that we've all been hearing and reading about. General Motors, this is crazy. General Motors is removing heated seats. That's right, heated seats from almost all of their SUVs, and they're only supplying it on the top trims of pickup trucks. Now that's crazy. Just think about going in and buying a vehicle. First, there's hardly any deals because they have no inventory. Then you get the vehicle and it's missing features, a crucial feature like heated seats, especially for a market here in Canada or the northern United States. It's unbelievable. My advice for a lot of people is just wait. Do not order a substandard car, because when you go to sell it, what's going to happen in 3 or 4 years when this batch of vehicles that's being sold right now, the 2021 and early 2022 cars, BMW doesn't have touch screens. They've taken that out. Some vehicles are removing features. You can't get the air suspension on the new Grand Cherokee. All those sorts of things. These could be kind of orphaned car, not orphaned, but what's it going to do to resale value of them? All right, so that's something we're looking at. Now we need to get into some pictures. Our first picture, this comes from Dwayne, who sent in a picture of his Mazda GT. He's from the States, so we'll call it a Mazda GT. Now this picture, I like Dwayne's picture, but this picture I really like. This one is from Frank and Sharon, who live in Oakville. They just got their very first Porsche. It is a Porsche Boxster GTS 4.0 with the flat 6 engine and a manual transmission, and that, my friends, is shark blue. Now, I'm not usually a fan of dark wheels. I think it looks great with the black roof, but that is a beautiful car. When he ordered it, he said it could take up to 2 years to get it, but it looks like he's gotten it now, so that is great news. All right. Once again, if you just have to get a question answered, you can always do what's called a super chat. At the bottom where you type in your question, there's a $sign there. You make a small donation to the channel and you get your question asked right away. All right. First up is the super chat. Hey, Zach, what do you think happens with VW Group over the next 10 years? Will they win against Japan Incorporated? Will VW end up buying Ford? Well, you're probably alluding to the fact that Volkswagen and Ford have a relationship. They are doing basically delivery vehicles and commercial vans and things together. Now, there's also a strong race with all of these manufacturers for electrification. We were just on a Volkswagen event this past week at Niagara-on-the-Lake down near Niagara Falls, and we were driving vehicles like the Tiguan, the new GTI, the Golf R, and the ID4. By the way, I'm just going to go through that now. The Tiguan video drops tomorrow. The ID4, the very first all-wheel drive version that's in Canada, we had a chance to drive it. And then the Civic hatchback that we pick up tomorrow, we're going to turn that video around and get it out to you for Saturday. So the new updated Tiguan, which we're very impressed with. The ID4, very impressed with that. And the Civic, we get it tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. All right. Here's a Charlottetown Spud with a super chat as well. Have you ever purchased a car that you owned in your younger years only to discover it's not how you remember it. I'm looking at a 99 Civic SIR with low kilometers, owned one in my 20s. Thoughts? Well, I would suggest that, yeah, I think that your memory of something changes, and vehicles certainly change over the years, and really quite quickly. Every 4, 5, 6 years, a model is reintroduced with upgrades. But I would suggest that hatchback SIR that was made in the United Kingdom is a wonderful, because it's so small and tossable and fun. And I think that would be a great buy to keep and hold, especially for a few years, because the market on that car was so narrow when they were new, because they were really quite expensive. They had to be imported from the UK. A lot of them were not sold here. Not very many of them were sold here, I should say. And then you hold on to that. Like, you think about the Integra, these vehicles, the prices have gone through the roof. So I think it would be a great thing to buy and hold. What your memory is of the car, you have much more, baked into your memory about it than I do. I only ever drove it once. But yeah, I think that would be a really cool thing to have. But I think you've got a Civic Type R from the last time I remember, so you can get your thrills with that car for sure. All right, anything else I missed here? I think we've got it all. All right, let's get into the questions. We had some super chats, but thank you for that. Carter Ip, snow here in Toronto as we speak. Really, we were in Ontario this week for most of the week, and the weather was spectacular. We were thrilled to be, and you're going to see the video tomorrow with the Tiguan. It was absolutely gorgeous, sunny and warm, and we were loving getting a break from all the rain we've had here on the West Coast. So I guess you're back to reality in Ontario with some snow. Which affordable SUV, in your opinion, has the best all-wheel drive for winter driving, and what sets it apart from its competitors? Well, the one that bubbles to the top of the list, obviously, is going to be Subaru with their symmetrical all-wheel drive system. They have X mode, a low-speed additional traction and stability program. I would suggest for a mainline manufacturer, their all-wheel drive system is going to be pretty damn good. In addition, the one thing about Subaru products is they come with 220 millimeters standard ground clearance on all of their utilities, whether it's the Crosstrack, the Ascent, or the Forester, or the Outback. They all come with with a lot of ground clearance, and then you get the outdoor version of the Outback, which increases it even more. So that's probably, if you're most concerned about all-wheel drive. But the biggest thing is buying good winter tires. I'm excited because I got an email from Toyo. I got a set of GSI 6s coming from my Cayenne GTS, and the email said they've landed, or they're just about to land in Long Beach, California. There's a huge queue of all these freighters across the ocean waiting to come and land, but he said they should be here in the next few weeks. Any idea why Civic Type R prices are so high? They just don't bring a lot of them in. And it's a very desirable car. And I think with a lot of hype around, what's going to be coming with the new Civic Type R, listen, car prices generally are high. So anything that's unique and special, and you're competing for it against other people that want it, and there's a few people I think that are on the live chat regularly have a Civic Type R, and they can add in what experience they had getting one. Here's a good question from Richard. What should we expect from Mazda launch tomorrow of the CX-50? So the CX-50, from what I've been reading, I got an invite from Mazda to take part in the live launch. We're probably going to be shooting tomorrow and busy at the time that it's going to be happening in the middle, I think it's 11 o'clock in the morning tomorrow, is that you take the CX-30 platform, which is the same platform as the CX-5, and they're going to be turning it into a larger crossover vehicle. Similar powertrains, 2.5 liter, 2.5 turbo, all-wheel drive, of course. The big one that a lot of people are waiting for is the new rear-wheel drive architecture platform that's going to be coming from Mazda. It's probably sometime next year as a 2023 model. So they have different vehicles that are not sold here, like the CX-7 And there's a new CX-9 that needs to come. So that platform with the rear-wheel drive and possible inline six-cylinder is not this car. So the CX-50 is going to be a bigger version of the CX-30, and it's going to be made in the United States in the same plant where they make the Corolla Cross, and it all gets shown tomorrow. Sanjeev is asking, a 2022 BMW M440 Grand Coupe, and can you make a 2021 Nissan Kick? So I guess you're asking for videos. Yeah. We have a BMW X3 40i that we're going to be, we recorded it today, so that'll be coming out in the next few weeks. I'm considering a 2022 Chevy Trailblazer. Are there any specific points I should take into consideration? This vehicle is actually selling quite well. It's unique in the fact that it has some nice features, like it comes standard with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It comes standard with wireless charging. It comes standard with screens. It's got the turbo 3-cylinder engine in there that produces quite a bit of power and is quite lively. And it's a good sized vehicle as well. And it's one of the only in this class that has an available power tailgate. So I kind of liked it. What I would suggest you do is, I'm not going to get into all the features of it because some of it I don't remember, but go and watch the video. Andrea and I did it about a year ago, just over a year ago. So the content is valid because that's when the car just came out. So go back on the channel, you'll see a little inspector glass there, and then type in Trailblazer and you'll find the video, and there's more information on it. It's quite a unique product, and it's been selling well for Chevrolet. 24-year-old in Southern California struggling to decide between a 22 Ford Mustang EcoBoost Premium or a more practical Honda Accord Hybrid. Similar pricing, but insurance gas is more for a Mustang. You're 24 years old and you live in Southern California. I don't know. Dude, your life is long and there's lots of time to buy average sedans. You know, live a little, get a Mustang. Like, it's just a nice, it's a great car. It's not just a nice car, it's a fantastic car. The handling is fantastic. The EcoBoost engine is pretty good. The 10-speed automatic has a lot of gears. I think that, you know, at 24 years old, don't limit yourself by getting an Accord Hybrid. Get a Mustang. You're not going to get anything different from me on that. Here's Ben with another super chat. Hey, Zach, will the CX-50 replace the CX-5? Lots of people expecting the CX-30 to replace the CX-3. Seems odd to persist with two separate SUV types. That's a good point. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know. There's just speculation. I think the CX-3 is going away in the United States for next year. Apparently, it's remaining on here in Canada. I don't think it's going to last forever. I think the CX-30 is just a better product. The CX-3 is so limiting. I'm not sure exactly what Mazda's up to with their naming structure and cadence. Are all the vehicles that are currently sold as like the CX-3 turning into the CX-30, the CX-5 going to turn into the CX-50? I don't know. So let's just wait and see what they announce tomorrow, and we'll get more information. I think that that's probably the case. But there you go. One of the things that you've got to remember is one of the MOs at Mazda is to have trims that move their brand up market. So they're going to have, what you're going to see moving forward, you won't have any in the marketplace just now. Vehicles that have the turbocharged engine, the 2.5 liter. I've said this many times in our videos. You know, you buy the Mazda CX-5 and you get the turbocharged engine, you get no credit for the fact that you spent more money and have the more powerful engine. You know, the German brands do a much better job at making you feel special. You got the different engine, a different look, maybe different spoilers and grills and those sorts of things. That is coming from Mazda. They've acknowledged this. They've said that they're going to have unique fascias and features on the cars that have the different engine. So that's something I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to do tomorrow. Okay? In your opinion, which of the car companies is cost effective in terms of maintenance post the warranty period between Mazda, Kia, Chevy, and Nissan? Well, none of them are super strong in that category. So if you go and look, I would say the interesting thing is, and this is without a word of a lie, if you go and look at the quality scores from JD Power anyway, initial quality and then dependability studies, which is their 3-year dependability study, Chevrolet outranks many of these brands. Nissan has come up in the last couple of years. Kia has been quite strong. Mazda, not the case. They've done well, but historically over the last 4 or 5 years, I would say, interestingly, out of that group, it would be Kia and Chevrolet that have had consistent quality scores. A lot of people don't believe me. They say, Zach, how can you say that Chevrolet can make reliable cars? Well, the numbers are there. And I've seen this trend over the last few years. Indexing above the industry average for the last 5 years has been Buick, Chevrolet, and some Cadillacs. So I would say if your number one concern is long-term reliability, just buy a Toyota. Okay, get a Toyota if that's your number one concern. Here's Sean. Good Sunday evening, Zach. Hope you're staying dry out there. Is there a kind of eerie with how few cars are on dealer lots? Brands hit most here in Halifax are BMW, Volkswagen, Audi, basically empty. It's interesting because we were just with Volkswagen this week and they've had very, very strong sales because they have inventory. But they even warned and said they're heading into their worst period now. So they're getting into a time where they're going to have decreased sales. Toyota has had really bad sales because of the chip shortage. They think they're turning the tide and coming out of it. So it depends on which brand. The ones that have really taken it on the nose the worst are the domestic brands, Ford, General Motors, and Stellantis. Jackson Barrett, hey Zach, why are trucks so far behind in terms of getting technology and charging that extra premium when $20,000 Hyundais and Mazdas get every feature you would want? I'm not sure what you're asking there. I would totally disagree with you. It depends on the kind of truck you're talking about. If you're talking about a mid-size pickup truck, yeah, you might have a case that it doesn't have the technology in it. But full-size trucks, my God, full-size domestic trucks are American luxury. If you want every bell and whistle and feature, look at a full-size, fully loaded truck from Ram, from Ford, or from General Motors and their divisions, and that is new American luxury. So I would disagree with that. What are your thoughts on Lexus upcoming LX600, aka the luxury Land Cruiser? Well, we have to wait until we get a real look at it. So yes, we are not getting the Land Cruiser. I don't even think they're getting the Land Cruiser in the United States, which has been a seller in the past and not been for sale for a while. So the only one we ever really got here in Canada was the Lexus LX. So we'll have to wait until we find out more about it. Hey Zach, seems that Subaru is bringing the first EV to market. Looking back, why is it that Subaru dragged their feet on hybrids? The Crosstrack hybrid was marginal at best. You've got to remember, John, is that a lot of the vehicles that you're seeing coming into the market for brands that are smaller are what we call compliance cars. Like look at that new Mazda electric car, the MX-30. That is purely a compliance car. So places that have zero emission mandates, like the province of Quebec and here in British Columbia, if a brand doesn't have an EV for sale, they pay penalties. So they feel, we'll bring in any kind of EV that we can put together, even though it doesn't have to sell that much and they don't have to sell that many of them. It's done in order to meet the regulations. So Subaru will be bringing vehicles to market because they need to in order to meet these regulations. Oh, here's Jackson's question again. I'm considering a GMC Sierra 1500 with a Duramax to take advantage of my current truck being valued at $40,000, but it's just crazy how expensive trucks have gotten. I'm not sure what to tell you other than the fact that yeah, pickup trucks are incredibly expensive. Pickup trucks are incredibly popular for the brands. And that's why you're seeing in this chip shortage, the emphasis is being put on trucks, full-size trucks. Think of the Escalade, the Tahoe, those sorts of vehicles, and the pickup trucks. Those are the best-selling vehicles in North America, period. Not the full-size SUVs, but the full-size pickup trucks certainly are. And that's where they're putting all the chips into them. And I remember one executive from a car company said they have not been able to hit the ceiling as to what they can charge for a pickup. So you can easily get pickups over $100,000 now. And there are buyers, right? You think of those King Ranch versions and the Denali versions and so on. The prices of those things are incredible. All right. We have another super chat. No question, but I thank you for that. And two of them back to back. Well, thank you very much. Oh, you do have a question here. All right, so I'll get to yours. I'm negotiating a demo of a 2022 Outlander and Rogue. Both are demo. The Mitsubishi dealer is taking out the Pdi and Freight because the Nissan dealer isn't. Can we negotiate Pdi and Freight? Okay, if the vehicle has been registered, then you should not be paying the freight and the PDI. The reason why the Nissan dealer is wanting to charge you the PDI and the freight is because it's basically a way that they're getting extra money from you. So what I would do is work with the Mitsubishi dealer. It's the same platform, same engine, and in fact, I think the Mitsubishi offers a lot more for less money than the Rogue, especially some of the middle trims. But yes, if a vehicle is being registered on the road, it should not be sold as new, and you should not be paying freight and PDI. I gave that tip last week on the live show. So yeah, if it's between the two, nothing wrong with the Outlander at all. And I would say go for it. Get the demo, save that $1,500 or whatever they charge typically. Hi, Zach. Have you heard, are you aware of any plans by premium luxury brands to produce any type of hybrid engines for their sedans? Well, BMW has plug-in hybrid right now, the 3 Series. In fact, the base model car is a plug-in hybrid. So if you go on the BMW website, you'll be surprised that the base model car is actually a plug-in hybrid. So they're out there. So I'm not sure why you think there isn't, but yeah, they do exist. So we got almost 300 people on board right now and 56 thumbs up. So if you guys could slam the thumbs up, that would be fantastic. Have you had a chance to drive the new A3? Any words on if the heated steering wheel will be available later on? No, I've asked the local, Audi Canada does not supply a press fleet here on the West Coast. So we have to deal, and we've been very lucky to deal with Audi downtown Vancouver. I have a great relationship with that dealership. We bought our Audi A7 there. So they've been lending us cars when we need them. I did ask and say, is the A3 or S3 in for me to drive? And they said, no, not yet. So when I get it, and we get it, we'll definitely do a review on it. Here's my brother Josh out in Montreal. He got an updated picture, Josh, looking good. Hey, Zach, a Quebec journalist did a comparable of owning a Kona regular versus Kona electric over 5 years. And it was very interesting to see the Kona EV ended up with more money, even with the incentives. Interesting. I'd love, I'm not sure if it's in English or French, but send it along. I'd love to see that article or whatever, however they did it. Maybe it was a video. Yeah, that's one of the things about EVs is you have to really do the math and crunch the numbers and see what kind of driving you do, how much driving you're going to do, all those sorts of things. One of the things I always say to people is one of the most expensive ways to save money on gas is by buying a new car. So people email or contact all the time. Oh, I want to get a new car because the one I have now is bad on gas. That's an expensive way to save money on gas. You've got to buy the car, the taxes, the PDI and freight, all of that kind of stuff. There's also all kinds of federal taxes like for air conditioning, and you add up all those fees, and then you get into a situation where you've spent all of this money to get a new vehicle that's marginally more efficient than the one that you had before, where if you just kept driving the car you had, and my accountant always says to me, owning a car, the cheapest part of owning a car is actually the gas. The biggest expense for a car is depreciation. So if you sell a car and buy a new one, then you're not exactly, it's a bit different right now because used car prices have gone up. That's good for anybody trading in or selling a car. But, you know, buying a new car to save money on gas isn't always the way to go. I'd love to see that article. Would you prefer heated seats or a heated steering wheel if you could have just one? Well, Julie, I would have heated seats any day of the week. I mean, Yeah, your butt on a cold seat, that's nice on the winter, man. The heated steering wheel's great, but I mean, we all lived for many years without heated steering wheels. Heated steering wheels are a new thing, relatively speaking, especially in mainline cars. You used to get them in luxury cars like 10 years ago, but now everybody's got it. But I'll take heated seats. Here's Eric, who had a birthday the other day. I guess Eric was messaging Andrea on her Instagram account, and he's one of the first people in, what's he saying here? Live stream on my 65 TV. Wow, that's cool. How you doing on the big screen? I see extra big today. I'm getting my new Mark 8 GTI this week. There you go. And driving to the U.S. next week for Thanksgiving. Is it a myth that I can't drive long distance at first? Okay, that's a good question. So Eric had a birthday. Eric's doing okay, man. He's got a 911 Turbo, and he's got a GTI, and he just ordered a new GTI. He was telling Andrea that he's going to be one of the first people in Quebec to get the new GTI. So congrats to you. All right. So on a myth that I can't drive long distance at first, Eric. Well, if you're going to the States and you're going to be doing a long drive, take the Turbo, dude. Take the 911 Turbo. The GTI. There is a break-in period. One myth that I didn't know about, my mechanic told me about this, is that, you know, a lot of people would say, I'm going to drive my car for 1,000 miles or a couple thousand kilometers, and then I'm going to change the oil, because there could be some little bits of, you know, shavings or something in there, right? Something wearing as the engine breaks in, then I'm going to get rid of all that oil, and then my car will be in great shape. And he said, no, do not do that. Follow the service interval for the first oil change, because when the car is sold, they put an additive into the oil that actually helps the pistons seat. So the pistons go up and down in the sleeve like this, and you need the pistons to seat into the block. And what they do is they actually put an additive into the oil that helps the pistons seat. And when they seat, then they get a nice clean, so there's no oil leaks, or there's, strong compression and all of those kinds of things. So what I would do is open the least read book in the world, the owner's manual, and find out what Volkswagen recommends for a break-in period. From what I remember about the last time I looked, the main thing was driving different speeds, varying the engine speed. When we had our Audi, they said don't take it over a certain RPM for the first number of kilometers. I can't remember what it was. So look in the book, read what the break-in period is designed from Volkswagen, and follow it. So consistent speed for a long period of time apparently can be bad for a break-in period. And I think you got a manual GTI, so you have the option of having the revs a little bit higher or the revs a little bit lower, or you can even do it with a regular dual clutch. You can just put it in manual and hold the gears at different RPMs. So look at the book, see what the book says. But one myth, I didn't know that. Leave the oil in the first oil change. Hey, Zach, I heard the Vancouver Auto Show will be back next year. I'm very excited. What are you looking forward to at the show? And will there be anything special happening for the 100th? So I in the Vancouver Auto Show, I was always the voice of the Vancouver show. I did the TV commercials, and I was on the big screen there and all that kind of stuff. They always hired me to do that, and I was happy to. It's my local show. And then I did all of the voiceover, all of the little videos and things that were going to be on the big screens. And then the show was canceled because the show is in March. And we all know what happened in March, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. That's when COVID hit. So yeah, the show got canceled, and that was the 100th anniversary of the Vancouver Auto Show. So maybe they're calling the next one the 100th. I don't know what they're going to be doing. I'm not sure what to look forward to. I just know that a lot of brands, unfortunately, are going to be pulling out of auto shows. They just don't see the return on their investment any longer. So I think auto shows moving forward are going to be scaled down events, unfortunately, for the public. A lot of the public like to go, but I'm not sure the brands see that there's a big return on their investment. And it's very expensive to have cars at an auto show. The displays, renting the hall, all those sorts of things. What's up with VW moving to capacitive controls on the steering wheel and infotainment? Didn't they learn from Honda that no one wants that? Well, it's quite interesting that you say that, because We have videos dropping. I just want to check something here. The Tiguan tomorrow and the ID4. And the Tiguan has regular kind of buttons. Actually, that's not quite true. The new steering wheel and the heat controls are the capacitive touch sort of system. And they're pretty good. I would say in Volkswagen's favor, the steering wheel isn't an issue. I think that's no problem at all. What I don't like is the GTI and the Golf R and the ID with the sort of swipe feature for the volume. Give me a volume knob. Like, why are these car companies so stubborn? I think it's because it's cheaper. Obviously, they're trying to save costs. And you're right. Didn't they learn from Honda? They put in the touch-sensitive system, and then they went back to a volume knob. Now, the head of product planning was at the event this week, and he even confirmed that there was a lot of internal battles at Volkswagen to have a volume knob added onto the screen. But Germany won out on that one, and they decided to go ahead without it. Now, there's no reason that they can't reverse course on that, but it's not perfect. Listen, I would rather have a volume knob. You know, the swipe system for the heat, not my favorite. I would rather just have, you know, a touch screen and then have just a few buttons. You don't need a lot of them, but they're going to this new clean design for their electric vehicles that you'll see in the ID4, but that's the exact same sort of system that you see in the new Golf. So, you know, these companies live and die by their decisions, and that's a decision that they've made for sure. All right. Over 300 on now. And we have 127 thumbs up. Yeah, we can get more. I know we can. Here's Jerome from Quebec. Which car makers rushing to deliver cars do you think 2021 cars will go down as years of models you should not buy? Well, the problem is, like we talked about this already, the fact that things are being pulled out of cars. Like I just talked about, General Motors this week is taking heated seats out of their SUVs and only supplying them for their top of the line pickup trucks. I mean, I am not buying a car that doesn't have a heated seats, especially if I'm buying. Can you imagine buying a Cadillac SUV and it has no heated seats? It's like, come on, that's basic entry into the marketplace is to have that. So I think that it will affect resale value. The problem we have is tracking all of this. So these changes are happening in real time. So, you know, we could even have batches of cars that were made a certain way for maybe just 2 or 3 weeks. And then they changed it and they take something else out or they add something in. Like the one example that pops to mind is, because we just did the video recently, was the Grand Cherokee L. And the trim that we had the air suspension, able to raise and lower the vehicle for going off-road. And it was a package that you had to pay extra for in order to get it. But when you went online, like the one we had it because it was an early production built for a press unit. But when you go online to order that particular model, they take the air suspension out and they give you like a $1,500 credit because it's not there. Well, what's the point of even buying that package? That's the main reason for the package, is to get the air suspension. So there's going to be all of these oddball things, and tracking what vehicles had what is going to be next to impossible. So it's really going to be on the shoulders of the person buying the car to ask the right questions, and for whoever is selling the vehicle to be forthright. Another one is BMW is getting rid of the touch-sensitive screens. Now, to their credit, they still have the iDrive system, which I prefer. But if you're somebody that really likes the touch screen, you know, vehicles like the X5, not available. How long that's going to last? I don't know. So no heated seats in SUVs by General Motors that's a real boner move if you ask me. John's done a super chat. Thank you, John. I appreciate that. I'm not sure if you had a question, but here's John's question. My budget is $50,000, taxes included. 2022 Hyundai Santa Fe hybrid, Toyota Venza, ugly interior, or Hyundai Tucson hybrid. Looking for longevity, very quiet interior, and some good torque. Well, if you're not in a rush, we're picking up tomorrow. I already mentioned we're picking up the Civic hatchback. We're also picking up the Santa Fe hybrid tomorrow. So in the next couple of weeks, we'll have that video. We already have the Tucson hybrid video on the channel, and we'll be adding the Santa Fe hybrid. So I would agree with you that the Venza is kind of different on the inside. I like the outside of it, but the inside, I can't get my head around it. Personally, for me, I kind of like the buttons and switches in the Santa Fe over the touch screen only in the Tucson, but that's a personal thing. Either you like it or you don't. But yeah, they deliver the goods. The nice thing is you got to remember that the base engine in the Tucson and the Santa Fe is a turbo 4-cylinder, 1.6 liter. So you've got a 1.6 liter turbo engine. Think the engine they use in the Kona N line, and then you add hybridization, adding the torque from the electric motors. It makes a really nice and compelling package. Quiet, smooth, and good torque. So those two use the same system, but the Santa Fe is a bit bigger, a bit heavier, and it's not going to have the same kind of responsiveness as the Tucson. Longevity, we're going to have to wait and see. Excuse me. This is Dave. Volume mechanical knobs are more prone to break. I've never have a volume knob break. You know that little thing? Never seen it happen. Here's my brother Paul Reed. What's your favorite small pickup? Hope you are well, Zach. Paul Reed. So Paul Reed is from Ontario, one of the shooters for Motoring TV. Great guy. He's got his own production company. They do a lot of video of cars. A lot of the ads you see on TV with cars, Paul shot that on his red camera. Fancy pants, Paul. I really like, I think that the small pickup truck, the bank vault is Tacoma. We know that. But I was really impressed with the Frontier. I thought the Frontier was excellent. I like the ride of the Frontier better. I like the engine of the Frontier better. I just think that the Tacoma is a known entity when it comes to reliability and resale value. But give the Frontier a shot. I think I really enjoyed it a lot. Here's Scott. Hey, Scott, nice to see you. How far back in the Mini do you have to go before that crap digital screen in the front of the driver? Wife loves it, but hates that screen. I think the previous model, I think that digital instrument cluster atrocity is fairly recent. Now, don't quote me on this, but I don't remember seeing that long ago. I would say 3 years maybe. Go and have a look. I don't know. If somebody knows, if you watch the Mini video that we put out yesterday, there's this new oval digital piece of junk behind the steering wheel that just looks so cheap. And we've commented on it in the last few Minis, but I'm trying to remember what year that came in. If anybody knows exactly, please type below and you can help Scott out. I'm with you, Scott. And the nice thing about Mini is they don't really change that much, so it doesn't really matter what year you get. Nobody knows if it's new or old, right? Okay, gotta figure out where the hell was I? Got lots of people on tonight. I love it. Oh, there's Eric, who's watching on his big TV. Could possibly hurt your trade-in value too, as dealers say if it's missing X features, so the trade value is lower. Yeah, we're all into unknown territory about these chip shortage cars. My advice is, if you're not in a rush, just keep the car you've got. Most cars today are fairly reliable. Even if you have to put a bit of money into keeping the car going for a little while longer until you can order the car you really want with all the features you want, there you go. Is there a future for a Mini in Canada? I think so, because you got to remember these are sort of incremental sales for BMW Canada. BMW is a big player. They have a large market share in Canada, and Mini is just incremental. I think that they're going to bring in more electrified vehicles, and if people really want to have electrified vehicles, then Mini will definitely be a supplier. So I think they're going to be around. I'm not sure. To your point, we talked about the numbers and how the numbers are dwindling. If I was in charge of Mini, I would bring in really strong effort when it came to content and pricing. Like take your vehicles that are excellent to drive and then just add in more content. Give people the features they want at a lower price, and then you could get the volume back up. But we'll have to wait and see. I'm disappointed about the latest generation of Audi and Volkswagen interior quality, while Skoda has become more premium inside. I haven't looked inside a Skoda in a while, since I've been at international auto shows. A great thing about, often I would go with Volkswagen Canada to these auto shows, and you had all the different brands, Seat and Skoda and all of them around. So it's really cool to see how they take a car that we drive here and turn it into another brand. Yeah, I really don't know, and it really is specific to each car. Like the one thing I would kind of disagree with you on one hand. I would say a lot of the Volkswagen interiors are simple. That's part of the brand's sort of DNA. Clean, not overly cluttered, with fairly good materials. I would agree with you that I think that they've scrimped on some things when it comes to quality. But, that will all wash itself out when it comes to how well the cars sell. If the cars are still selling well, there's no impetus for them to change. If they're not selling well, then they need to address it. And right now, Volkswagens are selling well. Hey, Zach, it's my first time. I disagree with your review of the Mini Cooper. How does the two-door compare with the five-door technically? First time I disagree with your review of the Mini Cooper. I'm not sure what you disagree about. What's the difference between the five-door and the two-door? Nothing really. It's just a longer version of it. Hey, Zach, I just want to know if we can negotiate freight and PDI in a demo. We already talked about that one. You should not be paying freight and PDI on a vehicle that's already been registered, okay? Adrian D, is Nissan back? I would say that Nissan is on the way back. I'm really impressed with a lot of their new vehicles. The Frontier I thought was great. I think they did a great job with that. The engine is fantastic. The suspension is really nice, especially with the Pro 4 X version. It's spendy, but you know what? Trucks are expensive. I would say the new Rogue is excellent. The new Sentra, they did a great job, and there's more and more stuff coming. The Pathfinder is a massive improvement over the last one. I don't particularly like the suspension of the Pathfinder. I find it a little too bumpy and crashy for my taste, but that doesn't mean other people won't like it. But yeah, they're definitely turning the corner. Now, the big question is, what the hell are they going to do with Infinity? We'll have to wait and see. Dinesh, hey Zach, can you do a video on the insanely long wait times for even mass market cars like the Tucson or RAV4 and the insane price gouging that dealers are doing, even with factory orders they have? Listen, I don't need to do a video. This is widely spread knowledge. It's being covered by mainline media, local news channels, newspapers, websites have been covering this. It's a known thing that there's a huge shortage of cars. A lot of people don't realize that in Canada we buy anywhere from 1.6 to 2 million cars. In the United States, it's 10 times that, so up to 20 million cars. So there's millions and millions of cars that are typically bought annually, and a lot of them are going short. So my advice is the same. If you don't want to partake in the market that is frothy with pricing, then don't take part. Just keep driving the car you have. And it's different in the United States than it is in Canada. In the United States, dealers can charge over MSRP, basically what the market will bear. In Canada, you're not allowed to charge over the manufacturer's suggested retail price. There are some loopholes, and one is that they can charge for accessories. So if you go into a car dealer and they want to sell you X car, they'll say, oh, we've put ceramic coating on the paint and it's $5,000. Oh, you don't want it? Okay, we'll sell it to someone else. So they can charge whatever they want for the accessory. So maybe ceramic coating would typically cost $1,000. They're charging $5,000. Or they're putting things on like rust proofing and charging $2,000 or $3,000. So that's how they're getting around it, by putting accessories on the car. And if you don't want the car, don't worry, someone else will buy it because there's no cars available. So yeah, not sure what I can say other than it's well known. Hey Zach, what's your opinion on the new Acura Integra? Well, they showed the prototype or the concept, which is what it will look like. Honda does not do prototypes and then change them radically. That will be the car, which essentially is the Civic hatchback. What we don't know is what is the engine output. It says 1.5 liter turbo. Is that just basically going to be the Civic Si? I don't know. Is it going to be more powerful than that? We're not sure. What does the interior like? Can't tell you. So that's just a teaser for what's to come. But at least Integra's back, and it's basically the Civic hatchback look. So you've got to remember one thing: the Civic Si is not sold as a hatchback. So that's the more powerful engine with the manual transmission. So maybe they're going to take that and make it available as a hatchback with the similar drive time and maybe with the dual clutch. Because in the old ILX, or the current ILX, you could get the dual clutch. Basically the old SI engine with the dual clutch. So the driveline details have not been revealed. There's lots of speculation. One dealer told me it was going to be a Type R, basically sold as an Integra. So we'll have to wait and see. Zach, what are your thoughts on the Longines Hydro Conquest? I don't know that model particularly. This is a watch question. Longines makes some beautiful watches. I like a lot of their heritage collection. They have some nice stuff. Longines used to be a massive brand decades ago, and it's very high quality stuff at an affordable price. So I don't know that model particularly, but Longines has some beautiful watches. So yeah. I'm guessing Hydro Conquest is... Oh, wait a second. Is that the dive watch? Wait a second. It's been popping up on Facebook all the time as an ad for Burks. Burks is basically the Canadian Tiffany, a luxury jeweler here in Canada. And that has been popping up in my feed on Facebook. It's a pretty watch. I like it. I actually went on the website and checked it out. Yeah, very nice looking. So if that's the one I'm thinking of, I like it. I like it a lot. Great value. Longines makes great stuff and good value. Any idea when the compact SUV PHEV video is coming? Tucson PHEV versus Prime. We're waiting to get our hands on the Tucson PHEV. Once we get it, then we'll do the Prime comparison. So my mother-in-law has one on order. So we said to mother-in-law, Monica, if it comes in, we're taking it and we're doing a video on it. So apparently a PHEV from Hyundai is on a train or a truck somewhere and coming our way. So as soon as we get it, we will do it. What are your thoughts on the Lincoln Nautilus? It's my favorite Lincoln because it's small and it has the most European driving characteristics. I find a lot of the bigger Lincolns, the Aviator and so on, the suspension is too soft for my taste. I think the interior is spectacular as well. It's my favorite driver of the bunch, and it's got a powerful turbocharged engine. It goes like hell. It's a nice car to drive, and the interior is good. It's an often overlooked product. So yeah, I think of the Lincolns, that's one of my favorites. Can you turn on the headlights on cars when you review them, doing the exterior drive shot so we can see what the taillights and headlights look like? Often we do, actually, but it maybe just doesn't show up in the video. If it's bright sunlight, you're just not going to see it. So, yeah, we do turn the headlights on for most times. And I do, by the way, whenever I do the exterior shots, the static shots showing the outside, the inside, and all of that without the car moving, I always turn the headlamps on. So I'm not sure why you're saying you're not seeing it, because those static shots always have the headlamps on. Hey Zach, do you know if Honda plans to put all-wheel drive on any of their sedans? Toyota, Subaru, Nissan, etc. has all-wheel drive. They're pretty tight-lipped about all this stuff, so I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. So we have 365 people on board right now. One person for, it's just gone up to 374. So if you like the live show, give it a thumbs up. That's always fantastic. What's your opinion about the hybrid Crosstrack? I think there are better options out there for hybrid technology. I'm not a huge fan. Why choose a Mustang when you can consider an all-wheel sedan with 4 doors? I think this is back to the question somebody was asking about getting a Mustang versus an Accord hybrid at 24 years old. Get a Mustang, live a little. Just returned from Portugal and rented an Opel Astra diesel. Phenomenal fuel mileage. Wonder why we can't get more small cars and SUVs in the Canadian market with diesel engines. 3 letters, TDI. 1 word, Dieselgate. Thank you, Volkswagen, for ruining it for diesel fans like myself. It's so true. The last time we were in Europe, we had a Jeep Renegade diesel. And you know what? When we first got it, I thought, oh my God, this thing's so tiny. And we had all of our suitcases and the kids in the back seat, and we're driving around Italy. But then we got to the Amalfi Coast. And the Amalfi Coast, the roads are so narrow, and you've got cliffs on one side, you've got ocean on the other side, and these huge coaches and buses going by, and you got to squeeze right over into a little crevice on the side of the mountain and let the bus squeak by. And I'm glad we didn't have a big vehicle. That thing got incredible fuel economy. And I'm with you. Diesels produce less carbon. Here's the interesting thing is carbon emissions are directly correlated with fuel economy. So the better the fuel economy, the less CO2 that goes into the atmosphere. What isn't calculated into the direct correlation between fuel economy and CO2 are the low-level pollutants, the nitrous oxide, the smog-forming pollutants. And those are the ones that got Volkswagen into trouble with Dieselgate, with the cheat software, Audi, Porsche, Mercedes-Benz, all of them. And they basically pulled out of the diesel market in North America, and there was no appetite really in passenger cars outside of those German brands. We had diesel in the Chevy Equinox and the GMC version. We had diesel in the Chevy Cruze. We had diesel in the Mazda CX-5, and they've all gone away because the appetite in passenger cars for diesel in North America is very low. In SUVs, it makes great sense. And the good news is, for fans of diesels, is that domestic brands are still producing diesels. So you can get the full-size General Motors trucks, think the Tahoe, the Escalade, and so on, the Suburban. You can get it with the 3-liter Duramax inline 6-cylinder. Ram is making diesels available in some Jeep products. We're hoping that you're going to be able to get it in a vehicle like the Wagoneer. But yeah, the fuel economy is incredible. We have a diesel in our family, absolutely love it, and I'm not going to sell it because I'll never get another one. So I don't disagree with you. It's amazing. You recently reviewed the Kona N line and the Subaru Crosstrek Sport. Which would you choose as the one to buy? Well, Michael, they're very different. Like, so the Kona N line, if you go back and watch the video, it has a dual clutch turbocharged it's got a turbocharged 4-cylinder with a dual clutch, and it's a small little basically hatchback car. And I even mentioned in the video, it reminds me of a GTI in many ways. The Crosstrack isn't that. You've got a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder naturally aspirated. You've got a continuously variable transmission in a bigger vehicle that is meant for being a good all-rounder and possibly going off-road and good in snow and a better all-wheel drive system. So they're very different executions. So if you're looking for a fun little kind of hot hatch utility to bomb around town in, the N-Line is fantastic. I thought it was really a load of fun. Now, if you've never driven a vehicle with a dual clutch transmission, and if you're not familiar, a dual clutch basically is a manual transmission automatically controlled. So it has some unique characteristics. If you've ever driven manual, you know you have to slip the clutch to engage first gear, and it can be on and off the clutch, and the transmission can provide a slightly unique drive. You do get that with the dual clutch. The CVT isn't going to give you anything like that. It's going to be smooth as you go. So it depends what you're into. Hey, Zach, I'm negotiating a lease. Oh, you've already asked that question. All right, let me see if I missed any super chats. I might have. Here's Yale from just up the road. Yale Rosner. Found ya. What did you switch to Sundays? So yeah, the show used to be on Mondays. New Targa 4 GTS is my all-time favorite. Maybe a winter review from you and Andrea at Porsche Ice Experience. Hell, that would sound good. So we did a Targa this past summer, and Andrea absolutely fell in love with that car. With the wraparound glass rear window, the retractable hardtops, kind of like a hardtop, but a retractable roof. So it's half hardtop, half convertible. It is a beautiful car, absolutely. But I would get the S or the GTS. I said to her, the Nirvana is a Targa 4S, a GTS, I should say, with that, turbocharged engine, much more power. So are you saying you have one, Yale? New Targa 4 GTS is my all-time favorite, so I think you're just saying you like it. And the Porsche Ice Experience happens in Macaglise, Quebec. If you're a Porsche fan, you don't have to own a Porsche. You can sign up for the Ice Experience, and it's in Macaglise, Quebec, outside of Montreal. You stay at a very nice hotel, and then you spend 2 or 3 days basically flinging Porsches around on ice with Nokian studded tires, and it's a whole lot of fun with excellent instructors. And yeah, that would be great. I'm not sure they would have a Targa GTS in the lineup, but we'll have to wait and see. All right, where were we? Scott Newells, we did. Michaels, we did. All right. What time is it? Oh, we're almost out of time. Thanks to everybody that's been on, by the way. I'm just going to recap what's going on. So the Tiguan goes tomorrow. And then on Wednesday, it's the Volkswagen ID4, the full electric. And the one we drove was the first all-wheel drive in Canada. So that's really cool. At the end of the week, we're picking it up tomorrow, is the Civic hatchback. And that's cool. It's a manual transmission. That'll be a lot of fun. Don't forget to sign up to Car Cost Canada. Use the promo code MOTORMOUTH. If you're shopping for a new car, and a lot of you seem interested, hell, you need any help you can get. So use the promo code MOTORMOUTH. Become an expert member. And CanadaDrives.ca, another sponsor of the channel. Huge inventory of used. People are having a hard time buying used cars. You can shop and do all of your shopping 100% online, get qualified for a loan, all of that, and then they bring it to you in a cool trailer and truck and drop it off at your house, sometimes even the same day. All right, so that's what's going on. If I didn't get to your question, don't worry. I read them all after the fact. And thanks to everybody that took part in the show. I'm going to say goodbye. You know why? Because I have to finish editing this. I'm almost done the Tiguan. But as soon as I shut down the show, I'll be firing up the interweb machine behind me and getting that uploaded. All right, thanks to everybody who checked in. We'll be back next Sunday. Have a great week, everyone, and we'll check in then. Bye now.